Good morning, Happy New Year, and welcome to 2025. I hope you're feeling well this morning and you didn't overdo it last night. Me, I'm obviously feeling bright-eyed and bushy-tailed because I'm recording this in advance, but that's neither here nor there. Actually, I'll probably be feeling quite fine the morning of New Year's anyway because I don't drink, at least not anymore. I used to, I don't anymore. Welcome back to another TBR video. There will be a slight switch up this time because normally I've been doing a wrap up in the beginning of these videos, and I have separated the wrap up and the TBR into two separate videos just in case you missed it. That came out a couple days ago, and now it's just a TBR video. What I'm going to read book-wise, what I'm going to read manga-wise, and then what I'm going to we'll reveal the Patreon pick of the month at the end of the video. This month, I'm just going to talk about the books I'm going to read, and then I'm going to mix the Patreon pick together with the manga because the Patreon pick of the month is the manga that I'm reading this month. So there's that. There can only be two sections this time. Now, starting off the month, the first book that I will be reading will be The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. David Mitchell is an author who is the author of Cloud Atlas, which is just, I love that book. It is, I put it on my top 10 sci-fi list just because it is so good. And there's only like one or two sections of the entire thing that's even science fiction. I don't care. It's that good. It's going on my top 10 list. But this is another book by David Mitchell. This will be the second book that I've read from him, Cloud Atlas being so far the only one from him that I have read. This sounds amazing. I normally don't read the synopsis of the books for these TBR videos, especially considering that everything else coming up after this one is really typical. Everyone in the world has heard of them by at this point. This one is the only one that maybe people might not have heard of. So I will really quickly just kind of run through this just so you guys have an idea of what this book is because it sounds great. Following a scalding with her mother, 15-year-old Holly Sykes slams the door on her old life, but Holly is no typical teenage runaway. A sensitive child once contacted by voices she knew only as the radio people, Holly is a lightning rod for the psychic phenomena. Now, as she wanders deeper into the English countryside, visions of coincidences reorder her reality until they assume the aura of a nightmare brought to life. For Holly has caught the attention of a cabal of dangerous mystics and their enemies. But her lost weekend is merely the prelude to a shocking disappearance that leaves her family irrevocably scarred. This unsolved mystery will echo through every decade of Holly's life, affecting all the people Holly loves, even the ones who are not yet born. Yes, please. This book is also told in the form of 6 different stories told by, I want to say, 5 different POV characters over the course of 6 decades. It kind of feels very reminiscent of the storytelling style of Cloud Atlas, or at least the description of it seems reminiscent of the way Cloud Atlas was told. Although I think this just goes straight forward through time. I don't think it's that whole forward and then backwards and that Russian nesting doll style, whatever I'm trying to say. Either way, I don't care. The blown clocks. Bone clocks sounds... Anyway, Bone clocks sounds absolutely wonderful. I'm super excited to read it. I picked that up, I want to say a few months back, and I've just been very patiently waiting until I had an opening in my TBR so I could shove it in there real quick. And that's happening. That'll be the first book I read period this year. So I'll probably still be finishing Memories of Ice, but that's neither here nor there. Moving on directly after that, we will be moving into The Ashes of Man, which is book 5 in the Sun Eater series, and I've been doing one of these a month every month, just like I've been doing one Malazan book a month. And geez, we really went out of 2024 with a bang with Kingdoms of Death. That was fabulous. Legit, almost maybe a high point for this year. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. But that book was super, super amazing. So I'm pretty excited to get into Ashes of Man, see where this goes. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is the second half of that book. Because that was written as one book, but it had to be separated into 2 when he published it because it got too large, I think. Anyway, yeah, super excited to get to Ashes of Man and see where we're going and what the heck's happening with Hadrian. Because if you've read Kingdoms of Death, holy shit, I don't even, yeah, well, we'll see where this goes from there. Next up, I want to get into part of the, I put up I did a list of shame in December. I said I didn't want to do a TBR video for 2025 because I don't know what I'm going to read this year. But I wanted to do a list of shame, like books that I should have read by now that I didn't. And I figured let's go ahead and start the year off by getting one of those in here so we can start knocking those off that list. And I'm starting with the one that's been on there longer than any of the others that I can think of off the top of my head. And that would be Dracula by Bram Stoker, because I also want to read some other vampire stuff this year, and I figure if we're going to start doing vampire stuff this year, let's start with the OG, the original, the man, the myth, the legend, Dracula. Anyway, so yeah, so that'll be next on the list is Dracula, and I'm super excited to get to that. Like, this is another one. I've literally been wanting to read this for about 15 years or so, and it just, something always comes up and I always get super excited about something else, and I grab this and I grab that, or I grab something, I don't know. It's just how being a book reader goes, especially being a mood reader. And then I don't know, maybe I just have some horrible ADD or something. I don't know, because I will plan on reading a book all the way up until it comes time to grab it off the shelf, and then I end up with something else in my hand reading that, and I don't even know how it happened. I think I have a problem. And of course, last but not least, The House of Chains by Steven Erikson. And hey, look, I got a hardcover version of this one. Isn't it nice? It's nice and big, and it definitely doesn't look like my Memories of Ice book that it's going to have to sit next to on the shelf, because you know that adds up. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't think I have a single book from the Malazan set that like even comes close to looking like this is what my set currently looks like on the shelf. It's wild. But from what I understand, that's just what it feels like to be a Malazan fan, or at least to attempt to put the books on your shelf, because this shit's just ridiculous. It's almost comical. It was actually kind of difficult. These pages are so small, and then the type's real little. That was a miserable reading experience. I'm not even done with it yet. I'm actually on 627. That's the page I'm on. And I have like 275-ish pages left of that book. And I have 2 days left in the... I know, you guys, it's like Happy New Year's video, but technically I'm recording this on
Monday.
So I have 2 days to finish that. I don't know if I'm going to make it. But, fuck me, Malazan's really good. Let me tell you. This is great. This is quickly becoming... It's very high. It's very high on my list of novels and series. I mean, I look forward to these maybe more than anything else in the month. Right now, currently... man, I tell you, really, really good. This, let me go back. I know, I'm all over the place. This, we'll be doing a dedicated review for it, but this book's been good. Probably the best one yet. Maybe. I'll set that in stone here in a couple of days when I actually finish the book and I decide where I'm going with that. Anyway, moving on to the manga this month, and the manga this month is also the Patreon pick of the month, which sometimes I do both. Like, I'll do an actual manga and then I'll do a Patreon pick if the Patreon pick is like a one-shot or something like that. This one was not a one-shot, so we're just going to make this the manga that I read, and it is The 20th Century Boys, and it was nominated by a patron named the Saiyan, formerly known as Kakarot, which is, let's just be real, that's a sweet-ass name. Anyway... That's going to be I don't have it with me. I don't have it yet, but I will be reading that one for the Patreon pick this month. Actually, if I'm being 100% honest, the one that I kind of wanted to win was I had a patron recommend Guards by Terry Pratchett, and I kind of really was secretly hoping that one won, because that's something that I wouldn't typically pick up. Like, I've seen it, I've heard people talk about it, I've had it recommended to me, and every time I kind of look at it and I kind of like look into it, I'm like, you know, and that's how I end up feeling about it, and so I never pick it up. So I kind of wanted it to win just so I would be like, give me like the kick in the butt that I need to step outside of my comfort zone and read something that I typically wouldn't read. That's, I think that's great. And then if I don't like it, I don't like it. But so sometimes you just need to step outside of your comfort zone, and you might surprise yourself. That's what I did with manga. I'd never read anything like that in my entire life. I really kind of stepped outside, and I'm so glad that I did. I ended up finding a whole new love for a whole nother medium of reading. Fabulous. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. It didn't win. Maybe next time. But I will be reading 20th Century Boys by, what the hell's his name? Urasawa. Jeez, I had to look at my monster books over there. Also, the Patreon pick for last month was Foundation. Don't worry, it is still coming. That will be later on this week. That should be coming, I'm hoping, Friday. So look for that video coming up. Also, next week will be the Malazan review, just in case you're looking forward to that. And of course, everybody, as always, the link for my Patreon is in the description below. The link for my Discord's in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.